begin in a seated position and find a nice comfy place for the hands to rest. Since we'll be doing something involving some strength and fire with the upper body, I'm going to start with quite a open receiving position with my hands. So palms upwards, one palm receiving the other hand, but you choose a hand position that's comfy to you. And either settle the gaze on something grounding or close the eyes. And take a few moments to remember a time where you faced an obstacle. Probably you have plenty to choose from. But remember a time where you faced an obstacle and you overcame it. See if you can take yourself back to remembering some of the details of the obstacle. And how were the ways that you found a solution? What did it feel like to overcome that obstacle? All of us face many obstacles in life. We often feel like, once I overcome that particular thing, then I'll be happy. Or once I find a solution to this particular thing, then I'll be on the right path. But really the work is never done. Well, let's not call it work. The journey is never complete. There will always be more obstacles. But each time you overcome an obstacle, you gather a new skill. You become more resilient. And you can develop a much deeper sense of self-trust that in the future, when you face obstacles, you know that you can overcome. Or when it feels like you can't overcome, you know that in the past, you've been able to find a way. Bring yourself back to this moment, back to this practice. And let's begin today by taking 3 deep breaths together. Inhale through the nose. Sigh it out. And let's join the palms together in front of the body. Spread the fingers really wide and gaze down upon the hands. We'll be giving a lot of focus today into the arms, the strength of the arms. So let's begin with what will most likely be the foundation onto the floor, the fingers, the hands, the wrists. Pressing the palms together, spreading the fingers really wide, and start to make the fingers journey forwards away from your body. They go around in a circle, the little fingers have to separate. The backs of the hands come together. The fingers point towards the chest, they point up towards the sky. The thumbs come apart and then the palms touch again. And if the instructions are confusing, you can just have a little look because I'm doing it at the same time. And continue making this circle. So often I find when we do wrist work, we rush through it really quickly, especially with wrist mobility work. And I really want you to gaze upon the hands as you slowly make these big, juicy circles. And in this way, we can start to connect the mind in with the movement. So it becomes a really neurally rich experience. The next time the palms are pressing together, keep them there for a moment. Lift the elbows wide and just see that where the palms are joining, you've got pretty much a vertical line. And I want you to separate the hands, keep the elbows at the same height, And as you separate the hands, draw the fingers back. So you're attempting to keep the same distance between the bottom of the hands and the tops of the fingers. So you're attempting to make two parallel lines with the hands. What wants to happen is the fingers want to dip in. Keep drawing those fingers back, and you're really strengthening out the wrist extensors, so the tops of the forearms. As the fingers draw back, the elbows lift. This is real active mobility work. And then press the palms back together again, really spread the fingers. And this time make the circle by drawing the fingers first in towards the sternum. The thumbs separate, backs of the hands come together. So you're circling in towards the body, down towards the floor, away from the body, and back up through the center. Keep that going. And again, gazing upon your hands, so you're really actively engaging the brain with the body, the mind with the movement. And when the palms are pressed together, we'll take this active mobility movement again. It's so easy to sort of trick yourself with this one. If you drop the elbows, it's a lot easier. So before you separate the hands, really push the palms together, lift the elbows, and look at the angle at your wrist here. So look at the angle between the back of the hand and the beginning of the forearm, and see if you can keep that angle the same as you separate the hands just a little bit, just enough that you can draw the fingertips back. And if you don't feel anything here, maybe you just have really strong wrists. But most of us are going to have quite a strong sensation in the wrist extensors, that being the top of the forearm. And I think a lot of mobility work that we do, particularly in the yoga world, it tends to be quite passive. We pour weight into the hands really quickly, and we weight bear to do our mobility work. But here we're being really strengthy. You can see, if you look at mine, I can tell that my right hand, the one that's on your left, the wrist extensors are less strong because I'm finding it a little bit harder to draw those fingers back. It's just an interesting thing to know about your body when you can see these things. Good. And then give your wrists a good squeeze. Bring a bit of life into there. And join me on all fours, hands and knees. And spread those fingers really wide again. Push the tops of the feet into the floor. And just for a moment, let everything fall towards the earth. Let everything fall towards gravity. Your belly goes towards the floor, your lower ribs go towards the floor, the shoulder blades come together, your head drops, and you really feel your tail sticking out. And then explore what you need to engage in your body, or what little cues you need to give yourself to gather away from the floor. Not so high that you tuck your bum. See if you can keep your bum untucked. I often find a little wiggle of the butt helps in that process. So keep the butt untucked and gently draw. In my body, it's the feeling of lower ribs drawing away from the floor and coming in towards one another. And it's also a feeling of filling the space between the shoulder blades a little bit. And not so far again that we're really rounding the upper back. You're just the feeling that you are resisting gravity. So drawing the lower ribs in, pushing the floor away with the hands. Still give your bum a little happy wiggle. And then also that you push up through the back of the head. So your gaze will probably be about 1/2 meter in front of your fingertips, because your arms are longer than your thighs. So as your arms are longer than your thighs, that means that your spine is on an upward trajectory. And your neck is part of your spine. It's really easy to forget that. Your neck is part of your spine. And your head is heavy, especially because you're so smart. Your head is heavy. So you need to give effort, or at least awareness, I should say, to keep the head lifted. And when you hold all fours like this, you really start to feel it pretty quickly. So this is a great way in itself to find that strength. Now, keeping the ribs and the tail unaffected, Inhale, begin to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, push them apart. Inhale, squeeze shoulder blades together. Exhale, push them apart. Keep that movement going as I give you some more guidance. Now, what wants to happen generally as we push the shoulder blades apart is we want to tuck the tail. See if you can keep your lower back neutral and unaffected. If it's a bit of a struggle to tell if it is or it isn't, give your bum a little wiggle side to side as you do these two movements, and that normally just helps to give you that greater sense of awareness as to whether or not your bum is tucking. And then when we squeeze the shoulder blades together, what often wants to happen is we want to really arch our back and stick our ribs out. So see if you can keep that little whisper of engagement there at the lower ribs. And then lastly, keep the elbows straight and keep the head a little lifted. It's a lot to think about. Lower back neutral, ribs a little bit engaged, elbows straight, head lifted. Okay, come back into the center, and even in center here, it is a feeling like you're pushing up a little bit because you want to be resisting the force of gravity. Now see if you can keep your shoulders level. You'll see what I mean when we do the movement. Pick up the right hand and tap the left shoulder. And the reason I said shoulders level is that either you'll want to overcompensate and lift the right shoulder high, or as you lift the right hand, you'll dip towards the floor. So come back both hands again. Press up between the shoulder blades. Feel really strong, really set. Slowly peel off the right hand and place it on the front of the left shoulder. And then see if you can feel not only your left arm and shoulder working, but also the muscles on the front of your trunk. So your abdomen working a little hard here. Push up through the back of the head. Return the right hand to the floor. Take a moment to reset, give your butt a little wiggle, check that the lower back is neutral, and then pick up left hand, hold the front of the right shoulder. And again, have you overcompensated? Have you dipped? Can you keep the shoulders level? And then return that hand. First side again. Take a moment, reset, and then bring the right hand onto the left shoulder. Connect with the left hand and the right knee and see if you can float the left leg off behind you. And as you lift the leg, squeeze the left bum cheek and push up through the back of the head. Take a deep inhale and exhale, curl left knee to right elbow. Inhale, shoulders level, leg shoots back. Exhale, knee to elbow, round your back. Inhale, long line, reach crown of head, tip of toes. Exhale, curl. Inhale, reach, and then tuck the left toes on the floor and tuck the right toes on the floor, and see if you can hover the right knee off the floor just an inch, really strong through the left arm. Keep breathing. And then lower down the right knee, bring both hands onto the earth and give your tail a little wiggle, let your shoulders juice up a little bit. Okay, reset in the middle. Bringing the left hand onto the right shoulder. And again here, just push the floor away with the right hand. Push up through the back of the head. Begin to reach the right leg out behind you. Long line, deep inhale. Squeeze the right bum cheek. Exhale, curl the knee to the elbow, round the back, drop the head. Inhale, lengthen and reach. Exhale, scoop and curl, push the floor away with the left knee, with the right hand. Inhale, reach. Exhale, come. Inhale, reach, tuck the toes on the floor. This is a great place to stay. Now you know what we're up to, you might choose to stay here. Otherwise, tuck the left toes. Pour the weight over into the right hand. Engage through the tucked toes and hover the left knee off the floor. Keep breathing. Remember how strong you are. Don't let any thoughts enter your mind that tell you otherwise. Lower the knees, return the hands, and then tuck the toes and press your weight really far back, so far back that the knees start to hover off. And as you push the floor away with the hands, the shoulders start to travel up towards the ears. Put the knees down, come up onto fingertips, lift your chest, little arch of the back, take a deep inhale. Exhale, spread the hands flat on the floor, weight back, knees hover, drop your head. Inhale, knees down, up on fingertips, lift your chest, little arch of the back. Exhale, hands down, push the floor away, drop the head. Inhale, lift, shift forward, come to fingertips. Exhale, pushing it back, hover the knees and lift all the way up, downward facing dog. And make any movements here that feel intuitive. If this shape is not that familiar to you, some options you could explore would be bending and straightening one or both knees, moving the hips side to side. You can have a little explore with the elbows, bending and straightening them. Any little movement that feels intuitive. And let's take 3 deep breaths here, wherever you are. Inhale, side out. 2 more. And look towards the hands, really spread the fingers, lift the heels very high, lock the elbows, push the floor away so firmly that the shoulders start to travel towards the ears, and then keep the shoulders there as you start to walk the feet forwards. It's going to make your back round. Embrace that sensation and then release all of that. Find a ragdoll, feet apart, catch a hold of opposite elbows. Drop the head, have a little sway side to side. Cross the arms the other way, have a little sway forward and backward. Give your head a shake and nod. Drop the arms to the floor, take a deep inhale. Exhale, slowly roll it up, push through the feet, round the back, drop the head. Roll all the way up. Join the palms in front of the chest, gaze down upon the hands. Lift the elbows and again see if you can separate the hands, keeping parallel space between the hands. This lovely wrist extensor strengthening exercise. And then join the palms back together again. Call back to mind an obstacle that you've overcome, but this time something in your movement practice. I don't know whether you want to refer to them as an obstacle or not. Perhaps you prefer the word challenge. But a challenge that you've met in your movement practice that you have found steps forward in. Just think about what your mind frame was when you took those steps forward. What enabled you to meet that challenge? Did you do it by beating yourself up or negative self-talk? Did you do it by courage, repetition, persistence? Did you do it with play and curiosity? No right or wrong, no judgment. Just be curious about when you have felt like you've made progress. How did you get there? How can you unlock your own natural talents? Keep that sense of strength within the body. Feet can be together or apart. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, Utkatasana chair pose. Sink the weight back into the heels. Bend the knees. Keep a little sense of lift through the chest. Reach the arms forwards. Inhale. Close the fists like you were holding onto two big ropes. And exhale, press the arms down towards the floor and squeeze them back. Inhale, reach them forward again as the tail reaches backwards. Exhale, squeeze, pull the arms down, pull the arms back. Keep this going and imagine like you were pulling something very heavy forwards to backwards, and then you were pulling something very heavy backwards to forwards, like you were creating resistance with the air. Keep a sense of lift in the chest and that little whisper of engagement in the lower ribs that we were working with on all fours. Next time the arms are reaching forwards, deep inhale, and then bow all the way to the earth, drop the head, exhale. Little halfway lift, lengthen the spine, inhale, folding over, exhale. Stepping into a plank position, one foot, the other foot, inhale. Pop down the knees, lift the head a little, exhale. Just going to go down halfway and give all of your focus into the squeeze of the shoulder blades and the opening of the chest. Don't worry about where your elbows are going or how close to the body they are. All I want you to think about is squeezing the shoulder blades and opening the chest. Go down roughly halfway. Go down less deeply. If you start to feel compromised in the shoulder blade squeeze and the opening of the chest. And so go for quality rather than range. So as you inhale, begin to squeeze shoulder blades, bend elbows, lower about halfway. Exhale, push back up to the top. Inhale, squeeze shoulder blades, chest opens, keep your head lifted, your head is heavy. Exhale, lifting up again. Little whisper of engagement into the lower ribs. Inhale, lowering halfway. Exhale, pushing back up to the top. Lifting up and away, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Start to come onto the fingertips of the right hand and really push the floor away with the left hand. Feel free to have the knees bent, and then again find that little whisper of engagement in the lower ribs. Place the right hand flat. Come onto the fingertips of the left hand. It's okay if your weight shifts over to the right a little bit. That's natural. Push the floor away with the right hand. It's okay for the shoulders to come into the ears. That's a really strong position for the shoulders to be in, and it starts to train you nicely for your inversions. And then flatten down the hands. Push the shoulders into the ears. Lift the heels. Straighten the elbows and start to walk the feet forwards. Little tiny baby steps. You get so far forwards that your fingertips start to grip the floor. Tip your weight all the way to the fingers so your shoulders go beyond your wrists. You can totally bend your knees here. Push the floor away, shoulders in ears, elbows locked, weight beyond the wrists. Should feel really strengthy in the shoulders, the wrists, the fingers. And then ragdoll, release it down, drop your head. And slowly roll up through the spine. Take your time. And meet at the top. Roll the shoulders. Sink it back, Utkatasana, chair pose. Reach the arms forward, grab a hold of those heavy ropes. As the exhale comes, squeeze the arms back, shoulder blades come together. Inhale, pull the arms forwards. Exhale, squeeze the arms back, shoulder blades together. Inhale, pull the arms forwards. Exhale, squeeze them back. One last time. Inhale, pull forwards. Exhale, fold all the way down. Little halfway lift. Inhale. Folding it over. Exhale. Stepping back to a plank position. One foot and then the other. Push the floor away with the hands. Step the feet mat width. If you don't have a mat, step the feet wider than the shoulders. Shift the weight over into the left hand and come up onto the right fingertips. Maybe you want to stay here. Maybe bring the right hand up to the left shoulder. Breathe. Strong through the legs. Keep the head lifted. Right hand down. Shift the weight into the right hand. Come onto left fingertips. Maybe stay here. Maybe left hand to right shoulder. I'm really squeezing my quads here. It really helps to have strong legs because you make yourself feel like one unit, so you feel a little bit lighter. Return the hand to the floor. Bring the feet hip width again and pop the knees down. Remember to lift your head. Each time you come from plank to kneeling plank, you want to lift the head a little bit. Remember to squeeze at the shoulder blades and the opening of the chest. Inhale, lower down, as low as you can keep integrity. Exhale, push all the way up. Maybe you go halfway. Maybe you can tap all the way to the floor. Inhale. Exhale up. Notice it's not knees, chest, chin. If you go all the way down, take your pelvis with you. Keep that going. Inhale to lower. Exhale up. Inhale lower. Exhale up. Two more. You are strong enough. One more. Lift it up and back, downward facing dog. Take 3 deep sighs. Shift the weight over into the left hand, come onto the right fingertips. Inhale, reach the right arm forward and then begin to circle it up towards the sky and back towards your hip as you exhale. Sweep it forwards again. Inhale, reach. Exhale, circle it back. And all the while, really push the floor away with your left hand. Inhale. Exhale. Now everybody's on a different journey with their wrists. If this feels really strengthy, you might just need to back away a little bit, take a rest here and there. Here, bring the right hand onto the floor. Shift your weight into the right hand. Reach the left arm forwards. Inhale. Exhale, circling it around and back. Really push the floor away with the right hand. Shoulder to ear. Inhale, reach, exhale back. I know so many cues go around of shoulders away from ears, but the strongest position for your shoulder when weight bearing is shoulders in ears. So let that happen, and you can really be strong and engaged through the shoulder girdle. Both hands onto the floor. Lift your heels really high. Push the floor away, shoulders to ears, and start to walk the feet forward. Step by step by step. Find this position again where you have locked elbows. You can do it with bent knees. I'm demoing with bent knees as well. You try to get your thighs as close towards your ribs as you can. Tip your weight really far forwards. I find looking forwards for balance helps. And then release it over, ragdoll. Whew. Slowly rolling it up. Piece by piece. And it's these little moments in between the rebound, the rest, that really gives us the chance to recalibrate, make space to learn, remember. Join the palms together, lift the elbows, and then again squeeze the hands apart, seeing if you can keep that parallel line. Press the palms together, inhale. Exhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Sink your butt back, keep a little sense of lift in the chest. Reach forward with the arms, grab a hold of those ropes. Exhale, squeeze the ropes down and back, shoulder blades together. Inhale, pull the ropes forwards. Exhale, squeeze them back like you were pulling something heavy back to front and front to back. Where do you feel the effort? Can you awaken the muscles in the body with the power and the strength of the mind? Then extend the arms are forwards, take a deep inhale and fold all the way over the legs. Exhale, little flowing lift, inhale, halfway. Melting it down, exhale. Spread the fingers wide. Stepping back into your plank position. Feet a little wider than hips, probably more like shoulder width or mat width. Shift the weight into the left hand. Bring the right hand over onto the left shoulder. Breathe. Keep the hand there. Tip the heels over to the left. You're in a little side plank. Look up. Inhale, slowly come back into that one-armed plank. Exhale, reach the right arm forward. Inhale, right hand to left shoulder. Exhale, heels to the left, side plank. Lift your gaze. Inhale, come back through the center, one-arm plank. Exhale, reach the right arm forward. Inhale. Return it to the left shoulder. Exhale, one more time. You've got this. Tip the heels to the left. Look up. Inhale. One arm plank. Exhale. Reach the arm forward. Inhale. And then bring a hand to the shoulder. Exhale. Lower both knees. Take a moment here to really push the floor away with the left arm. Come down onto the right forearm. Left fingertips. And now lift up into this one-armed dolphin. Feel free to bend your knees and really push the floor away with the right forearm as much as you can. As much as you can. And it doesn't matter how close in your feet are, but see if you can get the weight forwards. So weight is coming forwards, forearm pushing into the floor. Bring the left arm onto the floor, so you're both forearms down. And then from here, see if you can push up. Downward facing dog. So you engage the fingers, you tell yourself both elbows are going to lift off at the same time. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but you tell yourself they're going to. And then you find yourself in downward facing dog. Shift forwards into a plank position. Draw the weight over into the right arm and bring the left hand to the right shoulder. Take a second just to feel the position. Really push the floor away with the right hand. Tip the heels over to the right. Lift the gaze. Inhale. Slowly, so you can find your balance. Back to that one arm plank. Exhale. Left arm reaches forwards. Inhale. Hand back to shoulder. Exhale. Tip the heels over to the side. Lift the gaze. Squeeze the inner thighs. Inhale. One arm plank. Exhale. Reach the left arm forward. Inhale. Hand to shoulder. Exhale. You've got this. One more time. Tip the heels over. Lift the gaze. Inhale. Come back to the center. Exhale. Reach the left arm forward. Inhale. Hand to shoulder. Exhale. And then bring the left forearm onto the floor. Come up onto the right fingertips. Start to walk your feet in. Dolphin pose. One arm dolphin. Really push the floor away with the left forearm. So the common theme with all of this weight bearing on the floor through the hands, the forearms, is the pushing away of the earth. If you remember just one thing, I would say that's it. Bring both forearms down. Spread the fingers wide. See if you can walk the feet in a little bit further this time. So you really weight through the shoulders. Remember, push the floor away. Don't worry about shoulders in ears, not ears, just push the floor away. And then you're going to see if you can lift both elbows at the same time. Come into your fingertips and push the floor, push the floor. Lift your heels high, shoulders in ears, elbows locked. Start to walk the feet forward, step by step by step, and ragdoll. Deep inhale, side out. Slowly rolling it up, take your time. Give your shoulders a few little rolls. Remember, you have met a challenge before, and you have found a path. Any challenge you can meet. It's about cultivating self-trust, self-reliance. It takes practice, and you'll fall off the wagon. Sometimes you meet new challenge and you just think, oh, I thought I'd come further than this, but it's there to keep you humble. Join the palms together, lift the elbows. And then start to draw the hands apart from one another. See if you can keep that space as parallel as possible. Elbows lift, fingertips draw back, strengthening through the wrist extensors, the top of the forearms. You don't need to engage anything else in your body. Just focus, straightening the fingers, drawing them back, whilst at the same time, elbows lifting. There's no need for the shoulders to lift. There's no need to squeeze your belly. Just focusing on that one area. I say just, but in my body this is very strong. I don't know about yours. Palms together. Inhale. Utkatasana chair pose. Exhale. Reach the arms forward. Grab a hold of those ropes. Inhale. Squeeze the arms back. Exhale. Squeeze the arms forwards. Inhale. Again, squeezing it back. Exhale. How much can you engage around the shoulder blades? Keep this movement going. Can you go a little bit deeper into the legs and still maintain that sense of lift in the chest, engagement in the lower ribs, and really purposeful resistance with the arms. Reach the arms forwards. Inhale, fold all the way over. Exhale. Little halfway lift. Inhale, melting it down. Exhale. Stepping back, high plank position. So let's all have a play without lifting, without popping the knees down. So really engage through your legs. Push the floor away. And we're going to lower all the way to the floor. And maybe you end up there in about half a second. And maybe you can do it slowly. But be determined not to put your knees down first. So see if you can get your chest, belly, maybe the thighs to touch all at the same time. Take a deep inhale. Start to squeeze shoulder blades, bend elbows, hold the breath as slowly as you can. When you get close to the floor, little exhale. And then put the knees down, push up to the top with your knees down. Inhale. Lift the knees, shoulder blades squeeze as you lower. Hold the breath for about half the way and then exhale. Knees down, push to the top. Inhale. Lift knees, lower all the way. Squeeze shoulder blades, open the chest. Strong through the legs. 2 more times, you've got this. Knees down, push up to the top. So that push up is important too. You're seeing if you can do it in one piece. Lower all the way down in one piece. Put the knees down. See if you can lift your chest, your belly, your thighs at the same time. Last time down. Be committed, be determined. Banish any negative self-talk. Good. Push to the top of that kneeling plank and then lift it up and away, downward facing dog. 3 deep sighs. Okay, take a big inhale and a long exhale. Inhale, hover your knees just an inch above the floor. So it's like you're going to come to all fours, but you don't quite. Lift your head. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, hover your knees just an inch. Push the floor away with your hands. Lift your head. Exhale, downward facing dog. 1 more like that. Feel the pattern in the body. Inhale, hover the knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Little softness in the knees. This time we go for the elbows. So keep your legs the same. We're not worrying about those for now. Look between your hands. As you inhale, you begin to bend your elbows, and as you bend them, you have to sort of turn the crease of the elbows in and up towards the sky. You hover the elbows just a little bit off the floor. Exhale, straighten the arms out again. Inhale, bend the elbows, draw them in towards each other, hover them above the floor. Exhale, straighten them out. 1 more time like that. Inhale, bend the elbows, hover. Exhale, straighten. So we're going to put the 2 things together. Inhale, hover the knees, hover the elbows. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, hover the knees, hover the elbows. Exhale, downward facing dog. 1 more time. Inhale, it hovers. Exhale, downward facing dog. Put down the knees, lift your chest. Inhale, lower half or all the way. Exhale, push up. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, complete the breath. Inhale, hover knees and elbows just off the floor. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, knees down, lift your head, kneeling plank. Exhale, lower half all the way. Inhale, push up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, hover knees and elbows. Exhale, downward facing dog. And again. Inhale, kneeling plank, shift your weight forward, lift your head. Exhale, lower half all the way. Inhale, push back up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, hover, elbows, knees, hold. Breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2. Stick with me on 1, just the knees go down. Keep hovering the elbows for 5. You've got this. 4, 3. Elbows are off the mat but squeezing in towards one another. 2, 1. Put the elbows down. Lift the knees, dolphin. Walk your feet forwards. Tip your weight forwards. Push the floor away. Hold and breathe. You've got this. Tell yourself you are strong enough. If that feels a lofty claim, tell yourself you are getting stronger. And then come back onto the heels. Take a child's pose. Reach the arms forward and breathe. Ripple up to sit onto the heels. Join the palms together. Little lift of the elbows. Find that prayer position. And again, see if you can separate the hands. And as you draw the fingers back, you lift the elbows and strengthen through the wrist extensors. So people ask me a lot what they can do about their sore wrists. And in truth, if your wrists are getting sore when you're weight bearing, you need to have a bit of compassion for them. You need to decide, is it sore, is it painful, are they getting fatigued? And if it feels productive, stick with this move by the way, if it feels productive, you can continue. If you start to get the feeling like, oh, I don't know, this doesn't feel right, then back off. Because whether it is or isn't right, if your mind is telling you it's not right, you're not going to be in a nice relaxed state to cope with that growth. And then just build that window of tolerance. Keep going, draw fingers back, draw elbows up. Build that window of tolerance by repeating that movement over and over again, and then also bringing in strength-based activities like this. And then give your wrist a nice squeeze. Both sides. Okay. Bring the feet forwards. Hands behind with the fingers pointing towards your feet. And take a moment just to straighten the elbows and lift the chest. Have a little stretch through the wrists. We haven't made this shape yet during the practice, so it's good when you introduce something new to take your time, let the body know what's coming. Inhale, lift the hips up, squeeze your butt. Exhale, bend your elbows a little bit. It's okay if your shoulders crowd you. Inhale, straighten the arms. Exhale, send your bum back and tap the floor. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, little bend of the elbows, just a little one. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, you come onto the heels, you tap your butt back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, little bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, tap. Again, inhale, squeeze your butt. Keep your butt squeezed as you bend your elbows. Straighten your elbows. Tap back with your butt. Again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale and lift your hips. Inhale, stay here. push the floor away with the hands. Feel free to tuck your chin or drop your head all the way back. Both are great. And then slowly lower all the way down with your butt. And lengthen the legs out in front of you. Bring your fingertips forwards like you were holding a couple of juicy melons. And push your upper back rounded. So I'm not really putting any weight in my hands. Just finding that rounding shape with the upper back. And then from here, exhale, lift the right leg off the floor. Let your back round. Lift the leg as high as you can. Squeeze both legs straight. Purposefully rounding the upper back. Purposefully squeezing the leg, lifting the leg. And then see if you can reach your arms forward. Stay rounded in your back. Stay rounded. Lower hands, lower leg. Little ripple up to lengthen. Inhale. Exhale, rounding. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, squeeze the other leg off. So you're really engaging through both legs. Pushing the shoulder blades apart. And then maybe reaching the arms forwards. So you've got the opposition of the leg lifting towards you and the arms reaching away from you. And then lower it all down. Take a little lift up. Have the hands so that the fingertips are just a little bit behind your knees, just a little bit. And then from here, take a deep inhale and exhale, round over. So it's the feeling like your shoulders coming forwards and you round over. Inhale, exhale, push the floor away with your hands, lift off your right leg. So now you are actively working through the arms and you're lifting your leg. Breathe. Lower down, bend your elbows. Inhale, exhale, pushing the floor away with the hands, lifting off the left leg. It's okay if the leg is bent. Maybe your hamstrings are just feeling a little bit hesitant today. Push the floor with your hands and lower it down. From here, you want your hands roughly halfway up the length of your thighs. And we're going to see if we can lift our butt off the floor. People are always telling me my arms aren't long enough, and I have quite short arms as well, so I totally resonate. If your arms are longer, it will be slightly easier for you to lift, but we always have a strength. I have long hamstrings, so even though my arms are shorter, I'm able to get into a good prep position. So rather than focusing on the frustrating bit, like, oh, my arms aren't long enough or my hamstrings are tight, think when you overcome these obstacles, what natural talents and skills do you already have? So hands about halfway back. Normally I see people trying to do this with their hands back by their butt, and that's one of the reasons why it doesn't really work. So hands about halfway back, really engage your legs. You can have your ankles dorsiflexed or plantar flexed, doesn't really matter, just really engage your legs, spread your fingers, and remember this that we just did, this feeling of rounding your upper back. Only going to lift the butt, not the heels. Say only, it's tough enough as it is. Round over and forward. Take a deep inhale. Hold the breath. Push the floor away and see if you can lift your butt, round your upper back and hold. Even if your bum hasn't come off the floor. You just hold there and you imagine your bum is off the floor. And you keep breathing. Keep pushing the floor away with the arms. Last few moments, you've got it. And releasing it down. Okay, shift yourself forwards and rock all the way down onto the back. Have a little squeeze in with the legs. And then bring the feet down, windscreen wiper the legs from side to side. Nice little release for the back. And then catch a hold of opposite elbows and bring the arms above the head. Send the legs down and cross one ankle over the other, it doesn't matter which one. And take the body, the torso, the upper body over towards the right. Doesn't matter which leg you have on top, we're going to do both sides. Breathe, release. So often when we do strength work, people expect to leave, super sweaty and really fatigued. But that's really cardio work. When you're doing strength work, sometimes the work feels slow. But that's how you need to interact with your muscle fibers to strengthen them. Keep the same leg on top, wiggle your body back through the center and banana it all the way over the other side. So it might not feel particularly, maybe it did feel very fiery, but if it didn't feel very fiery, don't think that it isn't valuable. This slow strength work, that's the pathway to really progressing in your strength training. If you were to repeat this sequence a couple of times a week, in a few weeks' time you would really see the strength improve in your upper body through movements like your Chaturanga Dandasana, your dolphin, your downward facing dog even. Come back through the center. Cross the other leg on top and also see if you can cross your arms the other way. And go back the way you just came from. So side bend over the way you just were. And as we take these last few movements, it's a good time to deepen the breath, but also to release the control of the breath. If you were doing a sounded ujjayi, notice whether you've been holding your belly and see if you can let that go. Come back through the center and banana over the other way. Can you release the hips? Has there been any gripping around the glutes? Can you soften the jaw? I often find just opening my mouth a little and separating the teeth helps me to get into just that hanging on tension in the jaw that you don't even realize is there, or stretching it, or taking a yawn. Come back through the center. Lift up the legs and the arms, give them a good shake. Yeah, let your wrists have a good old shake. And then find a position that you would like to relax in for Shavasana. You could have the feet on the floor, the knees bent. You might like to lie on the side or your front. Maybe you wish to take a more traditional Shavasana with the legs out and the arms by your side. But remember, just because something's tradition doesn't mean it's better. You can make your own traditions. Take a few deep sighs. And offer your body the opportunity to rest. One thing is always true when meeting obstacles or challenge, that we will always do a better job of meeting that challenge when we're feeling rested. When you are exhausted, it's very hard to think clearly. When you're in a place of panic, when you're in that fight and flight, your brain literally dulls the logical capacity that it normally has. You move into survival mode. Obviously that's a useful mechanism when you need to survive, but so many times in our daily life we're in survival mode when it would be more beneficial for us to be able to slow our thinking and process. So a few minutes now without me talking, for you to rest and relax, and I will let you know when it's time to move again. If you would like to rest a little longer, turn off the recording and indulge, enjoy, receive. Otherwise, start to make some movements in the body. Let the breath bathe your body. Stretch, wiggle. And maybe it feels good to roll onto one side. Draw the knees in. And eventually, and absolutely in your own time, come to meet me seated. Maybe joining the palms together in front of the body, or taking that position that I had at the beginning with both palms upwards, one palm receiving the other, the back of the other hand. And start to reflect on what lessons you can take forwards next time you meet an obstacle, a challenge, something you feel you need to overcome or work on. And remember that none of us have all the answers. There is no end destination. It's just meeting a challenge, learning some lessons, gaining some tools, and when you meet the next challenge, hopefully, you'll have a bit of a bigger toolkit. Thank you so much for joining me for practice today. Thank you so much for honouring yourself, and thank you for being part of something bigger than each of us.